I am just going to start calling this Michael Movie 2026 week because the movie is coming out this week and we have been so excited for it. So today I'm going to watch a video from Cortex Videos, awesome channel on YouTube, but they are theorizing how the movie is going to end. So let's watch that and we'll react to it and I'll give you my opinion as we go.
Antoine Fuqua's upcoming Michael movie is coming out in the next couple of months, and alongside all of its anticipation, there are a lot of questions over how they are going to pull off everything, and also how they might end a rumoured first movie to set up a part 2. The trailers have given us a glimpse of where the movie could end, but a new leak may have just made that more complicated. Over the last few days, an image of a press interview card for the film may have accidentally told us what one of the final scenes focuses on.
Oh man. So yeah, everybody who's watched this video and watched these trailers and watched my channel over the last like 2 months has realized that I always thought that the very beginning of the trailer where you see that crowd and they're coming in like the big swooping shot, that's going to be the actual last performance in the movie. So I think that's how it's going to end. I'm interested to see what they think on this video and if it's like in line with what I'm thinking as well.
Personally, I don't think this gives us the full picture of the movie's ending, but it does point to the overall idea of what it might be trying to capture.
Oh, and of course, there's definitely going to be a part 2. We know that they filmed more than enough scenes already to compile a movie that was going to be close to 3.5 hours long. So this movie, they're kind of going to chop it in half a little bit, well, a little bit more than half, but they're going to cut it up, or they have cut it up, and they're going to use the footage that they have already recorded to put together a second movie. I'm sure they're going to have reshoots. I'm sure they're going to add little bits and stuff here and there, but my guess is that the way this movie ends is going to flow directly into the next movie. I think we're going to get the bad era onward in the second film. So we'll see. We'll see though.
So in this video, I'm going to be discussing that new leak, and then based on it, I'm going to give you my theory on what I think the actual ending of the film might contain. If you don't want any potential spoilers for Michael Part 1, then I would recommend watching one of my other videos on the film instead. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my content surrounding So the conversation around the Michael Part 1 ending has shifted dramatically in the last few days because a real press interview question card has surfaced online, and fans have quickly noticed a line that
Have you guys heard about this? I have not heard of this leak, so I'm kind of excited to see exactly what's going to be going on. I know, like when it comes to Marvel stuff, like I follow all the leaks, all the information, everything like Marvel, DC, anything with comic books, I'm following it. But as far as this movie is concerned, I'm a little bit blind to the production level and things that are going on behind the scenes. So I'm kind of excited to see what they got to say.
seems to reference it being a final scene. I'm not going to display the image because of potential copyright, but the card described a moment when Michael leaves the victory tour and highlighted Joseph Jackson's desperation and vulnerability in that particular moment. Even though the sentence was partially cut off in the image, the implication was that the first Michael film appears to end at the conclusion of the victory tour. And when you line that up
I can see that. Lines up completely with what I was thinking.
with everything we already know about the production, even the reshoots, the legal restrictions, and the decision to split the story into 2 films, this definitely sounds like it could be either the final scene or from that last section of that first film. Early reports confirmed that Antoine Fuqua shot a massive 4-hour biopic covering Michael's life well into the 1990s, but legal complications surrounding one of the early 90s allegations meant that the entire third act had to be rewritten and reshot, removing
Okay, so like I said, they have had to redo a big portion of the end of the movie. So because of that, they ended up chopping it into 2. So it sounds like Antoine Fuqua, the awesome director who is doing this movie, had more than 4 hours of footage. So it would be easy, I would think, to be able to carve out another hour and a half, another hour and 40 minutes into the next for the next movie so that they can have that and just roll it into that next film. So to me, it's going to be seamless. It's going to be seamless. They've already done the work. They might have to do some pickups. They might have to do a little bit extra, but they've already done the work, which is super exciting because I know this movie is going to be great, and then I'm going to want more. And they've already got the more done. So how can you not be excited about that?
Any depiction of that accuser and forcing the team to rethink the film's endpoint. That's when Lionsgate reportedly leaned into a two-film structure, carving the story into parts 1 and 2. So them ending a potential first movie at the Victory Tour or even the bad Wembley show that we've seen in the trailers makes a lot of sense. Say it is the Victory Tour, as the press interview card alludes to, ending it there can reframe the entire film as a story of Michael's rise to solo star. He'd go from child prodigy to global phenomenon, and it would culminate in the last time he ever toured with his brothers.
To me, that just makes sense. Like, I don't know about you guys, but to me, that just makes sense. It sounds like that would be a perfect spot to end something like this on. The first movie is going to do him as a child, and like all along the through line is him with his brothers. And then the second movie is going to deal with him being an incredible solo artist. And yeah, it just lines up right. Sounds right to me.
Moment that captures both triumph and fracture. On the surface, the Victory Tour is a celebration with the Jacksons performing to massive stadium crowds at the height of Michael's Thriller fame. But underneath, it's the moment Michael decides he's done with the Jackson 5. It's the moment he asserts full independence, steps away from Joe's control, and begins the transition into the bad era, the era that would define him even more so as a solo icon.
Yep, second movie's gonna pick up with the bad era. I always ask this question, and I wonder if Michael just decided to sort of stop here and continue to work with his brothers moving forward. I wonder if he would have still been the same megastar that he ended up being, because it wasn't like he wasn't putting out great music, and he did have these solo projects that were coming up. And by this time when they were doing this tour, he had already done Thriller, so he was already a big, like major success as a solo artist. I wonder if it's just the Joseph aspect that stopped him from wanting to continue with his brothers. And if he would have continued with his brothers, would that have been a little bit better for him personally, especially with everything we know that culminates in the end of his life? So, maybe having them around a little bit more would have been better for him in the end. But maybe it would have, his music would have suffered, or it would have lacked, or it wouldn't have been the same that it wouldn't have been exactly the same as what we already got. So just questions that I ponder, and I love thinking that, thinking about his life and thinking about how this movie has affected me, and how his life could possibly have been different if his brothers would have still been around, and even Joseph, if Joseph would have been around even longer.
So if the leaked interview card is accurate, the final scene doesn't just focus on the spectacle of the tour, but on the emotional fallout of Michael walking away and Joseph watching him leave, with a mix of fear, desperation, and the dawning realization that he no longer has a hold on the son he built. That's a powerful human ending, one that doesn't rely on controversy or scandal, but on character. And it aligns perfectly with Fuqua's filmmaking instincts of intimate emotional beats framed against massive moments. What makes this rumoured ending even more compelling is how effectively it sets up a part 2. By closing part 1 at the Victory Tour, the sequel could inherit the entire second half of Michael's life in the bad, dangerous, and history eras, the artistic
Exactly as I said.
reinventions, the global superstardom, and yes, the more turbulent chapters that the first film probably won't go into. It creates a natural 2-act structure, with part 1 being the mythic rise, and part 2 exploring the complexities, contradictions, and pressures that shaped his later years. So the film would end with this idea of transformation at the moment Michael steps into the next phase of his life, alone, independent, and carrying the weight of everything that comes next.
Yeah, crazy, man. Like, I feel like it would be a perfect segue into that. And I know we won't be able to figure this out until after we've seen both movies, but just as a fan, and right now, before you've seen the first movie and before the second movie has even been created and ready to release, which one do you think is going to be better? Is it going to be better to watch his rise into stardom, or is it going to be better to watch his downfall into death. Like that's oh man, I think it's gonna be a more joyous approach in this first movie, and then the second movie is definitely going to be heavier. I think it's going to deal with all the things that, all the allegations that he had against him, and of course, culminating with the This Is It tour, that never was, and of course his untimely death. So yeah, I'm super interested in seeing how this ends up going. I know you guys have been on this channel because you've hit that subscribe button already. I already know it, but there's a playlist that I've created that is over 25 videos deep at this point of all content on Michael Jackson's biopic that comes out this week. So please go and check that out. I'm sure you've seen it flash on the screen at least once, but if not, go to our YouTube, check out that playlist. We also cover tons of other stuff on this channel, like tons of trailer reactions of just other movies. We do TV show watch-alongs, movie watch-alongs. And we live stream multiple times per week. So yeah, most of the time it's in the evening. So yeah, you might be able to catch up if you hit that notification bell. So like I always say, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop those comments, and just know that Watch Stuff with Us will be in the mix in 2026. My name is JD. The Michael movie is coming up, and I will see you when I see you. Peace and love.